Okay. So hello to everyone. My name is Jorge Chica. Today I will be not playing at MTGO because I don't have enough Tixes to play my deck. So I have to wait for someone to let me some of the Tixes to rent my deck. So yeah, today I just want to talk with you guys about my deck. I like to call it Curienought, but it's just another Stiflenought deck. First of all, I would like to introduce me a little bit, so you can know all my a little bit about my background. So I think I have been playing Magic for 7 years or something like that. I have been playing Modern, for example. I played KCI, Death Shadow, Fades, for example, in Modern. And then I went I start to play Legacy, and I start with a Death Shadow deck. But when I was with one of my friends, they showed me that there is a card named Dreadnought that is like a Death Shadow but better. So from then I have been playing non-stop Dreadnought. This was like 3 years ago, something like that, maybe even more. And I have been playing a lot of different versions. I play like mono blue, blue red, blue white control with the fairies and Karen the Great Creator. I have been playing with Uro, a lot of different versions. And since Curie came out, I have been playing with her since then, also non-stop, because I think that Curie is the best card for our deck. So yeah, and also I qualified this year for the ELM, European Legacy Masters. Also, I got in the top 10 of the main event of Four Seasons. I also, for example, got in the finals of the big tournament in Arcanis, which was like 100 people. Also, I got in the same event in the 60 people tournament in the top 8. Yeah, and a few more of them. You can go and check my Twitter to check a few of the things I have done. For example, I also play against Andrea Mengucci and so on. And here you can see a little bit of my decks. For example, you can see here the one of the decks with the deck that I qualified for the ELM. So the deck have changed a lot since here, because Curie just changed the game, because from here I was playing like Uro with Dreadnought, and we didn't have enough threats and also fast threats to win the games. So that was a big issue. And when Curie came, yeah, the deck was crazy, because we have like a two card combo that you can go off like pretty fast, and you can win the game almost instantly, because if you deal 12 damage and draw 12 cards, you almost insta win the game. In this moment I was playing Urza Saga, because you can go Urza Saga on turn 1, Iceland on turn 2 with Curie, and go off with the combo on turn 3 with only 3 cards. You only need 2 lands and 1 Curie. One of the lands it needs to be Saga. But yeah, there was a lot of time that I have won only with Saga. But nowadays all of this is different, because in this moment Modern Horizon 3 wasn't online. I mean, so Yeah, in this moment, Legacy was uh, pretty different from what it is right now. So, for example, 4 dress downs, 1 prismatic ending on the main board, also 1 life from the lawn on the main board to start looping Wasteland and Saga. Yeah, so the idea was different from what is now. So right now I want to talk you about the version that I have been playing with I mean the last version or almost the last version of Curienought, just to explain what I think is the best way to play Dreadnought. So I think that this card, Phyrexian Dreadnought, is one card that it you can play it like in a combo deck, in a combo way deck. Uh, for example, with a Moss War Bridge. This card, I think it was called Moss Bridge, something like that. Yeah, this one. With Emrakul and so on, so you can go like super fast with it. Yeah, so you can play it in a really combo super fast version. You can play it more like in a tempo, also more like a control way. But I think that the best way to play Phyrexian Dreadnought is going more in like a mid-range situation, style of deck, because if you go if you try to go like super fast with, for example, Dreadnought Stifle on turn 2, and your opponent just plays Fatal Push, you are like out of the game, because basically you have 2 less cards and you don't have more threats in your hand to keep on with the game. And this is really common in against control matchups, because they have Prismatic Ending, Teferi, Sword to Plowshares, Solitudes, Ley Lines, Boseiju, and so on. So the idea to go really fast is not good, I think, and also the idea of going pretty slow isn't good either, because we don't have that many good cards that wins the game on the late game, because we don't have like, I don't know, maybe for example Narset or Uro, for example, or Forther Lingas, or we don't have cards that are good enough on late game. So we are more in like a middle game. That is where we are strong. So now that I have told you this, I think that Curie is the best card from this deck. I think that a lot of people think that, okay, but you can block it, you can kill her, or yeah, of course, but it is something that if you are able to do it, you can win on that moment. And it's something that Psychic Frog is not able to do, because there have been a lot of games also. If my video, there is a few moments that Frog don't win the game because it's not fast enough, or maybe the table is like pretty heavy, for example, with a lot of Eldrathis or whatever, and Psychic Frog is not capable to win from that point. Curie is capable to do that. So we can go, now that I have told you this, we can go more like in a heavy Curie deck. We can try to protect her, for example, with Mother of Runes, Giver of Runes, and a lot of different cards like instant or instant card that can you protect your Curie, or maybe to make it unblockable, for example. But all of these cards are also bad. And the situation right now in Legacy is that you need to play cards that are good at that moment or that wins you the game almost instantly. Because right now everyone is playing Temio, and it's a threat that you have to answer in that moment, and they only need one blue mana, that's all. Psychic Frog is the same, you only need blue black mana to play it, and you are good to go. Also, for example, with all of these new Eldrazi's, you only need mana and you are good to go. So having cards that are bad if you don't have the other card, I mean like A plus B, it's just better to only have A, and A is good enough to win the game, right? So that's why Psychic Frog is that good, because she only needs, he only needs from him, that's all. But Curie have like a way higher ceiling than Psychic Frog, so that's why, and also because I love Dreadnought, that's why I think Curie is the best card of our deck. So now that I have told you this, that's why I think we have to run around. We have to have in our main board between 4 and 3 Curie. I will tell you later about why. But also there is new card that is super good, Oculus, which I think that maybe is the second best card of our deck. Why I think Curie is better than Oculus? Because with Oculus, it's super good, it's super good, but Legacy is also like a pretty heavy combo format. So I think that Curie is better for that, because most of the time, for example, Reanimator, most of the time they only play like one creature or two, and if you can Sword to Plowshare them and Curie start attacking, you won the game. Like, you have one Psychic Frog, but when you find Dreadnought, you won the game in that moment. That is the difference between Frog and Curie. Curie can close games faster than Psychic Frog in some situation. I don't mean always, because you can start drawing cards and don't find the Dreadnought, so Psychic Frog is faster, that's right. But most of the times, because you are drawing cards like Ponder and Brainstorm, and you also have four Phyrexian Dreadnoughts, you should be able to find one in order to win fast, okay? And once you hit for 12, you like almost win the game, because you have Stifles and Dress Downs, which are cards that can win you the game from almost each spot. Not with the Fairy on the battlefield, but for example with a Storm Trigger, for example, or whatever, or uncounterable threats, for example, triggers of Eldrazi's, for example. So you can win almost from every spot with this deck. So coming back to Oculus, I think this card is amazing. This card is crazy, super good, but it also needs or depends on the situation of the table, because you need 6 cards, you need the 3 mana, you sometimes need to play it around days, you need to play it that if you tap out, you cannot play your Stifles, or you cannot play your Dress Downs, or the other combo decks like Nadu and so on. You cannot respond them because with your mana. So that is the thing about Oculus that I think is super good. Also in the late game is super good, but maybe 3 it's just good enough. Okay, so now that I have told you this, because that's why I think these 2 cards are like the main thing about the deck with Dreadnought, then we need to find like the other way to deal with our opponent with more threats, because these 2 threats are like dependent decks. Dependent I don't know how to say it, but like, yeah, they are dependent from Dreadnought in order to be good. I mean, Oculus not that much, but Curie, you need the Dreadnought to be like crazy good. So that's why Tamio came, because Tamio can bring you the Sink into Stupor, which is like a pretty good play to wasteland your Sink into Stupor in order to take it back with Tamio. I won a few a few games with that. Also, Tamio is like a win condition, because if you go with the -7, you almost win the game. In the same situation as I have told you with Curie, because you have stifles and dress down, so you can win almost from every spot. So Tamio is pretty good, but the problem with Tamio is that she doesn't make any damage. So there are a lot of cards that there are a lot of decks that you cannot, by outdrawing them, you don't win them. For example, Eldrazi is one example, because you can start drawing cards, but if they go from Cavern, Chalice of the Void, Mycosin's Pounds, Trigger, Thought-Knot Seer, and so on with the A of Ugin, just tapping 2 mana to draw one extra card with Tamio is not good enough most of the times, so you need to close the game. So that is the problem about this deck that I'm trying to resolve right now, because we need a few more threats, maybe 2 or 3, just to make sure that we have enough pressure, and also that our cards are good enough in the current metagame to close the game faster enough, to not go to the late game, which I have told you we are not that strong. We are strong, but not that strong. We are not more stronger than Eldrazi, for example. So, and also like Control, we are not that strong. So that's why I need something for the middle game. So we have a few ideas, and one of the ideas that I have shown you before in my other videos is to start playing Psychic Frog. So this idea is pretty good, because Psychic Frog is good with Oculus. Okay, Psychic Frog is good with Tamio because you draw more cards. Okay, that's great too. Also, Frog can defend flip Tamio just by blocking, so that's good. And also with Curie, it's good too, because Psychic Frog can find the Phyrexian and Dreadnought for Curie, for example, or also you can play Curie and Psychic Frog in the table, so if you can start outdrawing more cards than your opponent. So Psychic Frog seems pretty decent, pretty good. It's the best card in Legacy right now. But the main issue about Psychic Frog is two things. One of the things is that it's black, and for me, I don't think that black is the color for this deck, but I want to try a few more versions. And second, is not a good card with Dreadnought. So there will be a lot of time that you have 2 Dreadnoughts in your hand and 1 Psychic Frog, and you cannot make any value from the Dreadnought that you have in your hand. Because, for example, in this deck, in this version, this 6.3 version, I just take out some of the dress downs, because I think that dress down is pretty good, but right now, as I have told you, you need cards that are good at the moment as you play them. So you cannot afford to have 4 dress down in your hand, in your deck, because you will have some hand with 2 of them in your hand. You are playing against Eldrazi, and against Eldrazi, dress down is not that good, because all of the Eldrathis do their thing when you cast them, not when it enters the battlefield, like Thought-Knot Seer, for example, is one example, right? So all of this is pretty tricky, but I think we are finding our way to make it work. So yeah, I also that's why right now I think Psychic Frog is the best way to go right now, because we don't have anything that is better right now for our Dreadnought that fit in this kind of mid-game situation, and also is good enough for the meta game, because there are cards like, for example, Scroll of Fate that are pretty good with Dreadnought and also with Oculus, but the issue is that it is not good enough for against the opponent Psychic Frog, the opponent's Atraxa, opponent playing Eldrassis again, is not that good enough. So we need to keep our power level. It's like Curie and Oculus. I think they are in a tier 1.5, something like that. I think they are higher from a tier 2. And Dreadnought is also like that. It's like a tier 1.5, something like that. So we need cards that make our deck going to the tier 1, not going to the tier 2. So if we start playing like more Scroll of Fate on the main board, for example, we are more in the tier 2. So that's why Psychic Frog make our deck a little bit better when we don't have Curie on Oculus to play in that moment. So now that I have tell you this, so now I will talk about the colors. So right now I will explain like each color. So blue is the best color for our deck, no doubt. Okay, so then we have for example red. We don't have almost anything in red that is good for our deck, so we discard that. Then we can go to the green, for example. I really like green because we have Life from the Loam with Wasteland and Stifle, so that is perfect. Also Life from the Loam with Oculus, that is perfect. And also I really like Uro, because it's a really good, I think it's a really good card in this deck. But right now that we are not playing that many dress downs and we are more into the Curie situation, Uro is not that good enough. And also Temio needs a lot of mana, so maybe it's not that good enough. Also I want to talk about Null Drifter. I think that card is bad. Okay. Also the same for Doorkeeper Throne. I mean, Doorkeeper Throne from the sideboard, it should be okay. I mean, for a few meta games, So, but I think that Doorkeeper Throne on the main board is not good enough, because when I start this video, I told you about when you play Dreadnought and Stifle and they just fatal push the Dreadnought. So Doorkeeper Thrall is like the same situation, because you play the Dreadnought, they kill it, and your Doorkeeper Thrall is doing nothing. Just nothing, just waiting for another Dreadnought. So it is one less card that maybe your opponent don't need to kill at that moment, and Null Drifter is one card that needs from other cards more than Curie and Oculus, because with Oculus you need the cards in your graveyard and 3 mana, but that's all. You don't need more. With Null Drifter you need the Dress Down or the Stifle to keep it on the play, and you drew two cards that maybe those two are lands. So I mean, and also when Null Drifter enters the battlefield, most of the times you are on the late game, and having Annihilator 1 in a card that is for longer games is not that good, because most of the time they are gonna have a lot of different permanents. So also right now a lot of people are playing Temio, so if you have a lot of clues, they can just sacrifice clue and that's all. So yeah, let's keep talking about the deck. Sorry for that. So Um, yeah. So yeah, now I will talk about black. So black is pretty good. You have Fatal Push, you have Orthis Bowmaster, Barrogoyf, and Frog. So I think that black is the best color right now to play. I mean, it's pretty good in combination with blue. But the issue with that is that we are not playing removals that are good enough, and we need to play those removals in order to Curie to make it good, and also to wait enough to Oculus to hit the game. So right now, I think in the overall games, we need to play white. To play Sword to Plowshares, which are amazing because we can dress down and then Sword to Plowshare, for example, an Emrakul. Also, for example, Troll of Khazad-dûm. We can sort Atraxa, Archon of Cruelty, because we can stifle the trigger when it enters the battlefield and then Sword to Plowshare. So also we can Sword to Plowshare our Dreadnoughts to win enough lives to close the game. So I think that having white in our deck makes our deck a lot more stable, and being possible, as I have told you, one of the good things about this deck is that we can almost win from every position, and white make that possible because we can kill almost every creature from almost every position. And also we also have really good cards in the sideboard. For example, Prismatic Ending, which is pretty good, and also Wrath of the Skies. This card, Wrath of the Skies, solves a lot of different problems that you cannot solve with black. For example, this colorless Mystic Forge combo with keys and so on. Also, for example, Nadu decks. Also, for example, Cradle Control decks. For example, Artifact decks. There are a lot. I mean, there are a few of 8 cast deck out there. So, Urza Saga decks. For example, also against lands, maybe it's good too, because you can kill explorations, maps, sagas, and so on. Vexing Vavels, for example. So this card do a lot of things. So maybe, I mean, in the sideboard right now, for example, in this version, I mean, this sideboard is not close, but just to have one idea, Barrogoyf, I don't think we need Barrogoyf. I mean, it's super good. It's super good. It's a really good card. But I don't think that we need this card for our Dreadnought deck. No. And also, Orthivo Master is super good, but we also can run, for example, I have it here, Hull Breacher, which is a card that makes something similar for more mana, but so that's why I think the only purpose to go with black is having Psychic Frog. But I think that it's better to have the white mana for the removal, for the Sword to Plowshares. Also, if you can see, this deck is almost like a mono blue, no? So with this idea of just trying to get rid of the Psychic Frog and make the deck good enough, I came out with this version 7.1 with 4 Chemios, which maybe they are a lot, but we don't have enough good threats that are tier 1.5 or better, because, for example, I can show you here best blue creatures in Legacy. Let's go to here. We cannot play Murktide. I would love it, but we already have Oculus, so we can't. We cannot play. I mean, Brazen Borrower. This is another card that I want to talk before. So our deck, as I have told you, we are not a tempo deck. We are more like in a mid range. Sorry. So that's why for the bounce spell, I want to have it in my lands. So that's why I was playing Otawara and also Sinking the Stupor, because I don't need creatures that bounce. I need lands that bounce. Okay, because I think that for this deck is better, because if I was playing here one Brazen Borrower, I will have to put it like, I don't know, for example, one Tenyu or one Dress Down or whatever, no? I will talk about later about Ransom Note. So as you can see here, there is not good cards that are blue, because Tamio, we really are playing that. The Pharaoh's Secret is not with our deck. Uro is going with green, but we are trying to go blue-white. Nadu neither, Tazonakle neither, of course. So, for example, here it is a Hull Breacher. So as you can see, there are not that many blue cards, blue creatures that we can use to win the game. So we have to find it in another way. So that's why I came with this idea. You remember the thing that we have? I have start this video talking about the Saga with the Curie, right? So that's why I was like, okay, Saga is pretty good, because Saga puts constructs that are artifacts, and Temio puts more artifacts, and Curie is an artifact, so the token of the Urza Saga are pretty good. And also right now we are running less Dress Down, so this issue of Saga Dress Down should be a little bit more solved. But also Dress Down is pretty good with Saga, because you can go Dress Down at the end of the turn, Saga, search, Dreadnought, and you have a Dreadnought like almost for free, because you have drawn, it's like you change your land for a Dreadnought. So, okay, that seems pretty good, right? Also with this, Sagas, most of the times, in order to be good with Temio by its own, you need also one artifact of 1 or 0 mana that is also good in the deck. And that's why I was starting to play Ransom Note. This card helps you with Surveil, so it's good with Oculus. It's also good with Oculus and Dreadnought, because you can cloak the top card of your library, which almost is like a Manifest Dread, but with Ward 2, I think it was. So it's pretty good. Go at a target creature, and also you can draw a card for 2 mana. So that's why I was thinking, okay, this is pretty good, because Saga right now is good with Oculus, because we can hit it from the top. Saga is good with Curie, because Saga brings Dreadnought, and Saga is good with Temio, because put more creatures. So, okay, Saga should be amazing, right? And Saga is also good by its own, because you have Ransom Note. So you can go Saga, put a construct, then in the next turn put another construct, search for Ransom Note, and just wait from your Ponder and Brainstorm to find Oculus or Dreadnought, and then cloak from the top. Or if not, just put another 2/2, and if not, you are dealing, you are attacking with 2 3/3 creatures, because you have 2 tokens of Saga and 1 and the Ransom Note. So that should be good enough, right? But the thing is that Legacy is pretty different from this early year, like from January. Legacy has changed a lot. Right now I think Saga is pretty slow right now. I don't know why, because in my mind this idea should be amazing, because Saga is combining like super good with all of the cards with Ransom Note. But Saga, you need to pay mana, so you cannot play your Stifles, Ponder, Days, and so on. And Ransom Note, you have to pay 2 to cloak, and then if you cloak an Oculus, you need to pay another 3. So that is a lot of mana. And right now against Reanimator, they go Entomb, Reanimate, that's all, with 2 mana. Eldrathis, for example, they go like, you know, like in turn 2, this Firebreaker or whatever, I don't know how it's called, like deal 1 damage to you, Lotus Petal, another damage, whatever. So that's why I think, and also like you go, okay, Saga, and your opponent go, okay, I will attack you with Frog, I will start drawing. So that's why I think Saga, the idea is good, but maybe it's not good enough because you need a lot of mana. But if there is another 1 mana artifact that it is good enough for this idea, that should be the way to go, because we have our removals, we have enough threats, and we combine every interaction. So yeah, I tried this deck, I think on MTGO, and it wasn't good enough. Don't look at the sideboard, sorry, because the sideboard is not like update. So, but just on the main board, the sideboard is going to change depending on what I have seen. This is weaknesses or a strong part of our deck. That's why maybe we have to return to playing this version of the deck, this 6.2 version with black, because having 3 colors is a weakness, is something that is not good I think. But Psychic Frog is that good that I have told you that right now I think our deck between Curie, Oculus and so on is like a 1.5 tier. With Frog you are making your deck more like a tier 1. So that's why I think with these few changes, because right now, for example, in this situation, we are only running 3 Temios, so we don't have that problem of having 2 Temios on their hand that they are legendary, so you cannot play them. The same situation with Curie, because they are legendary, so you cannot play more than 1. And also Oculus is pretty good because you just play turn 2 Frog and discard almost everything, play your Oculus, and you are good to go. You don't need more threats because you almost win in the following turn. It's like a kill on turn 4, because you can, I don't know, maybe it goes fetch and discard 4 hands. You attack with 5 with Psychic Frog, then hit play your Oculus, which is a 5/5, which manifest Dread. If you manifest Dread another Dreadnought, you win the game on turn 4, which is pretty good. I mean, it's pretty fast for this kind of mid-range deck with Stifles and Dress Downs and Force of Will and so on, and also with Sword to Plowshare, so you can kill someone pretty fast. It's almost as fast as going a Stifle Dreadnought on turn 2, because you can kill someone on turn 3. So yeah, right now also this version have Otawara, but I think I will get rid of it because I was playing Otawara when I was playing Uro, because we have enough legendaries creatures to make Otawara pretty good, and also the game were slower, so you have time to play Otawara, and it was pretty good. But right now you don't have time to play Otawara. So I think that I will make this mana base a little bit more stable, getting rid of this Otawara, maybe having more fetches, and also maybe 2 Iceland to play Oculus around the wastelands of our opponents. But yeah, this is I think right now like the way to go. But but because Psychic Frog is tier 1, it's just that is the best card of Legacy right now, and it enables, as I have told you with Oculus, like pretty crazy opening hands, and you also have more like creatures that can win you the game just by drawing cards, which this deck cannot, because Curie by its own is not good enough. Of course, it's not as good as a frog by its own, and also Temio is the same position. And as I have to, for example, today I have played one team trios event, and I play against 2 times against Eldrazi's. There were a few games that they were like Ancient Tomb Chalice on 1. Okay, just play the frog, discard everything, attack you a few times, and that's all, because you are killing yourself with an Ancient Tomb. So you don't. I mean, I was the guy applying pressure at that moment, and this deck is not capable to do that, because Sagas is not fast enough. So yeah, this is my way to think about Curienought. If you have any other ideas to make the deck better, I would love it to hear them. I mean, the other idea is going blue-black, which my friend Harain is playing that version. But I think that Sword to Plowshares, also Prismatic Ending, Path to Exile, which is not in this version, but Path to Exile I think is pretty good for playing against Reanimator and Atraxa and so on. I know that at MTGO things can be different, because almost everyone is playing like a tier 1 deck, tier 1, tier 2 deck. And most of the time right now at MTGO you don't need Sword to Plowshares, because Fatal Push is good enough. For example, against Reanimator, it's true that you cannot kill a Troll of Cassadum and so on. But for example, with Red Stompy, with Fatal Push you are good to go. With Eldrazi's, it depends, but most of the times it's like, okay, Dimir Tempo, like the same, Painter, same, Nadu, almost the same. But there are a lot of times that Sword to Plowshares are really good against this deck. For example, Reanimator, you can kill everything. That's right. With Eldrazi's, the same. Dimir Tempo, you can kill the Nethergoyf, so he doesn't come back. The same for Dimir Reanimator, because you can kill their Sacred Frog and the frog will not game again. So that is huge, because you can make their reanimation spell bad, because they don't have any target. So also with Painter, because they cannot bring back the Painter with a Goblin Engineer and Goblin Welder. Yeah, so on. Yeah, so that's why I think like the going with a black version, Fatal Push I don't think is good enough for this idea. If you have a really good hand, you have in your opening hand Curie, you have in your opening hand Tamio, or Psychic Frog, is Fatal Push is good enough, because Fatal Push is most of the times and most of the decks, you are almost sure that Fatal Push is gonna help you with the tempo of the game. But I don't think we are that good at tempo with Curie, with Oculus and so on. I like to play it a little bit more slow, a little bit more slowly. So that's why I want to go like in a more stable way, and Sword to Plowshares gives me that. It's were way more stable than Fatal Push and so on. So I don't think what is easier. I don't think it's if it's easier just to close my eyes, play blue-black, and say, okay, let's hope that Fatal Push is good enough for the games of this round. I mean, for the of this tournament. If not, I am behind. If yes, I will win pretty easily because my mana base is pretty good and Psychic Frog is pretty good. So, yeah. Or if I will go to an Esper version of the deck which have everything, so it's like the best idea to have everything, but your mana base is worse. Not that worse, but it is worse. So you are gonna have a lot of this situation that your opening hand has Swords to Plowshare and Underground Sea in your opening hand, so you cannot play your Swords to Plowshares, and you are gonna lose a few of games just by that. Also, you are softer to Wasteland. Your mana base is weaker, but you also can play Prismatic Ending for 3, for example. Or going into the third idea of just going with a blue-white, but you need to find one threat that can keep up with you can say keep that can keep the level with Psychic Frog, for example. I mean, of course, there is not one card that is good as Psychic Frog. It's a threat that can win you the game by its own. You can play it as soon as turn 2. So there are not cards like that in Legacy. Also in Vintage, I think. No, in Vintage they are good cards too. I mean, they are way better cards. But yeah, I don't know what is easier. So that is the thing that I'm trying to solve right now. I know that if in December they ban Psychic Frog, this will change, because this version, this idea, we don't have any sense. I mean, we will not make any sense, because I'm playing black only because Frog. Because having Fatal Push on the sideboard, no, I don't need that. And also Orthis Bowmasters, yeah, but it's not my idea. So I'm not going to make my mana base worst just by playing Orthis Bowmasters in the sideboard. And also, I don't think that Barrogoyf is good enough to also do that. So we are only playing this Esper version or with black version just because Psychic Frog. So I think that in December all of this is going to change, but yeah, for now I don't think I will play in Prague. I think I will not be able to go there. Also because money situation. So yeah, those are my thoughts about my deck, Curienought. I think that I have almost covered everything. We can talk also a few about matchups, but I don't want to take more time. But yeah, I think that this Curienought is pretty good for it's pretty good because you have some like free win games when you just go stifle your fetch, playing Curie, and you have already won from there because you are one land behind. I'm drawing more cards than you, and you are out. Or also just by playing Stifle Dreadnought on turn 2, back up with days. There are some times that happens, so I think that right now, if you're playing Legacy, you have to play one deck that also have free wins situations. I mean, free wins positions. But yeah, we are pretty good against Demon Reanimator. It will depend on them. If they have the perfect hand, you cannot win them. So, but we are pretty good because we have our Swords of Plowshares. So we don't care that Trolls of Khazad-dûm enters the battlefield, because we don't have to respond in that moment. I don't have to waste my force of will or my days to counter the troll. With Red Stompy, it will depend on them, but they have a lot of Ancient Tomb and so on, so Psychic Frog is pretty good against those. Curie is also pretty good against those, and also Red Stompy doesn't have enough ways to remove Phyrexian Dreadnought, so if you combo on turn 2, they are pretty fucked. Also against Eldrazi, if they have the command on hand, they can kill the Dreadnought, but they don't have a way to manipulate their library, so they have to draw by themselves, like from the top, they have to draw the command. So Dreadnought is pretty good against those idea. Against Dimir Tempo is also pretty good, because we have more Psychic Frog than them, because we have between 3 or 4 Curies, and also between 2 or 3 Psychic Frog. Swords of Plowshares are pretty good against Frog, against also we have a Prismatic Ending for a flipping for a flip Temio. Swords of Plowshares is also pretty good against Mortide, is also pretty good against Nethergoyf. Also against Painter, our deck is pretty good because we are using Dress Down. We also have Wrath of the Skies, which can kill almost every card in their deck. Mystic 4 combo is a pretty difficult matchup because it will depend on what hand they have. If they have everything, you also lose the game. If they go Vexing Babel on turn 1, going off on turn 2, you are fucked. Doomsday, we are pretty good, right? Nadu also, we are not that bad against Nadu. If they have like this, like more like a control version, we are not that good against them, because yeah, they can Teferi and so on. Also, there is one thing I want to talk is I have seen that a lot of people are playing consigned to memory more than Stifle, and I think that is a bad idea, because yes, if you are playing on MTGO, you are trying to win a challenge or whatever, and you play against 2 Eldrazi and Cloud Post and whatever, yeah, consigned to memory on the base, I mean on the main is crazy. But most of the times when you are playing on a paper tournament, you are playing against everything. Random decks, not random, and stifling wasteland activations, fetch activations, and so on is crazy. Also, for example, against Cradle Control with this Elvis Reclaimer, that's amazing. They are wasting one turn and also losing one land for our Stifle. That is pretty good. So that's why I think Stifle is way better than consigned to memory, but I think that you need to have at least one consigned to memory on the sideboard. It will depend, but yeah, at least one, maybe 2 is the best way to go. Yeah, for example, also 3 days, it's a little bit weird, but days is good, but it is not the best card in our deck, because we need 3 mana for the Oculus, we need mana for the Temio, we need mana for, so Days is good because we have stifles and we have wasteland, but just having three I think is good enough. Actually, I sideboard them a lot. I mean I take out them from the main board to the sideboard a lot of times because there are a lot of for example against Red Stompy, they are bad. Eldrathis, they are bad. The Demon Reanimator, they are bad because Demon Reanimator just combos you with 1 mana spell, so it's pretty difficult to daze one of them. Dimir Tempo is also by 1. I mean, all of their cards are 1 mana. Painter, they can have a lot of mana. Mystic Fork combo, they have a lot of mana. So Nadu combo, they have a lot of mana. Jeskai Control also. So days on these days days is not that good. So 3 I think is okay. What else? Meticulous Archive is amazing for our Oculus and so on. So yeah, and also 3 Wasteland, not 4, because for example in this list we are running Esper version, so 3 Wasteland is good enough I think. So yeah, I think these are my ideas about Curienought. So yeah, I will play the next league maybe this weekend. So yeah, I will upload here the results and the game. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you have everything that can help me to improve the deck, please contact with me on Twitter or wherever you want, whatever and whenever you want, and I would love to hear you. Also, told you that we have this Discord, and we have a Curienought server just to talk about Curienought. And I can see here that they are also talking about more new cards, so I will read them. So yeah, right now I think I will just continue playing this version with 3 Psychic Frog, 3 Curies to make it a little bit more stable, taking out the Otawara and making the mana base a little bit more stable, and just continue with that because I think this is the closest way to get to the tier 1 situation with Psychic Frog and maybe with the Bowmasters and the Paraguay, for example, and so on, because they can help. I mean, they are not the idea that Dreadnought needs, but they are good enough to make our deck tier 1. So, but I don't want to make our deck like a blue-black tempo, normal tempo, because we are playing Dreadnought and we are playing Curie, which, as I have told you before, Curie, I think that Curie has way higher ceiling than, for example, Psychic Frog, or even also Bowmasters, or even Barrow. I mean, I cannot think about one card that can do this. Drawing 12 cards while making 12 damage with Trample. With 2 cards. Show and tell with some that you are not, I mean, with Atraxa, but you are not drawing 12, so Curie is pretty strong. I love it. So yeah, thank you very much. See you later. And yeah, if you have anything to tell me or whatever, just write me. My Twitter is here. And yeah. See you later.